Hello, everybody. My name is Hakimi Moore, and this is my conflict presentation. My conflict presentation takes place back in 2009, 2010 ish, around. I was working for a mortgage company, and this is right after the 2008 mortgage housing crisis. If anybody knows anything about the mortgage industry around this time, there was a lot going on. It was almost like a too big to fail situation going on where the housing market completely collapsed all across the country. If you had a pulse, you could pretty much get a home loan at this time. Everybody was qualifying. A lot of people that didn't qualify for home loans at this time, and it led to the downfall of 2008. I began working for a mortgage company in 2009. And again, during around this time period, there was a lot of reform going on within the industry. So they were changing a lot of ways that the deal was going to get closed, um, um, just to have safer. They were doing this mainly just to be have safer and more regulations. And a lot of people within the industry, they were quite wary of this during the time period, and it was causing a lot of people struggle because they started having a lot of tighter guidelines for qualifying home lenders. So again, this is like the wild wild west back then, and a lot of people were cutting corners in order to get the deals. This was almost the norm during this time. Unfortunately, um, I like to say I didn't complete any fraud during this time, but this was the norm. Whatever deal you can get done, however you get it done, as long as you can get it done, that's all that mattered. So, and this was me coming in very, very green, very new to the mortgage industry. All I knew, I just wanted to be a mortgage banker, coming from the banking aspect, because before I became a mortgage banker, I was in banking, working in a traditional bank. But I started working. I started working for a mortgage company, and it was ideal. This situation was awesome. This Everyone got along within. It was a small office, around 15 employees, but everyone got along. The 15 employees, everybody worked very well with each other, especially with me being very green, not understanding or knowing the mortgage industry. A lot of people saw me as a pup, and they took me under their wing. They helped me along the way. The our We had great general managers. We had great processors, great overall, just a great overall environment to work in. But the situation that occurred in around 2009 was a very unfortunate one. Again, it was a close environment. We had a processor. She was very good at what she did. Excuse me. She was very good at what she did. She was very sharp. She knew the ins and outs of the mortgage industry. She's been processing home loans for years. And again, this situation that occurred, even though it was unfortunate, it happened at the end of the month. We're trying to get all the deals done before the month closed. So our processor, she had a golfer's, um, she had a golfer's a characteristic. She did everything she could. She went on and beyond the Call of Duty. She tried to avoid conflict as much as possible, and that's probably one of her downfalls. Rather than saying what she needed, or if she needed help, she would take it upon herself to get the job done. Which any boss can tell you they would love that initiative, but on this circumstance, rather than her going to anyone in the office, rather than her doing so, she took it upon herself to commit fraud. And what she was doing, she was altering documentation, cut and pasting, and um, she was cutting corners to get this deal done, which she didn't need to do at all. Uh, Again, she didn't need to cut corners by any means, but if she did it, the loan would have closed, but it wouldn't close at the end of the month. It probably would have closed later on. And in the mortgage industry, everything is on deadline, 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 deadline. There's a purchase contract that has a deadline, so you're always working on the deadline. And rather than her um, asking for an extension or going to the loan officer who's in charge of that loan, she took it upon herself um, to commit fraud. And she got caught. She got wind of this because when the loan went into closing, because a lot of hands they, they, they get into they get on the loan. So it came back on her with the closing department, and some things didn't add up. The documentation didn't look right. Some things didn't add up. So there was a huge investigation going on, not only with her loan, but with every loan officer um, in that in that in the office. All their loans were audited because if she could have did it, could have did this to this loan, she could have did that to many other loans. And there was many nights that happened where I couldn't sleep because I just felt uneasy about it, And again, I felt like what more could I have done? Because at this time, I felt like I was a point guard figure. I was a total team player. Whatever needed to be done, she could have talked to me about it. We could have took care of it, and it was just an unfortunate situation. Even the managers that we worked for, they had a general manager, a person that characteristics. They empathized with all the employees there. They worked very well with everybody. They were good negotiators. They just did a good job. But this the situation was very unfortunate. And what ended up happening was they ended up firing her and three other loan officers um, because of the situation. Um, this was definitely a processing conflict that could have been easily avoided if um, the golfer would have just spoke or just talked or just with the loan officer just to get to have everybody on the same page. Again, it didn't need to be done. It didn't have to be done, but she took it upon herself uh, to try to close the deals the best she could, the best way she could. Which again, at the end of the day, if you cut corners, everything comes back on you, especially in the mortgage industry. And this was a tense time, especially dealing with the fall off from 2008. But um, it's definitely a lesson learned. I learned a lot of lessons from that situation. Is never to cut corners. There's no shortcut in life. Um, Again, this is something I still think about from time to time. I just wish it would have happened or everything would occur differently. Yeah, so that's my conflict presentation. This is concerning the mortgage industry in 2009 that I dealt with. It was an unfortunate situation, but I wish it could have been different. Thank you.